Hi guys, and welcome to another tutorial from Siska Stitches. We know there are a lot of videos on the internet on how you can make face masks, but I'm going to show you the process of how I made mine. Mine has a filter pocket. It has a nose pinch because I inserted a nose wire for this. So remember to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications so you get notified whenever we post new videos. And now we can go ahead and begin the tutorial process. So the first thing we're going to start with is the measurement. Please ignore my lockdown face. And for the vertical measurement, we'll be starting from the top of the nose around the nose bone area to underneath, a little bit underneath the jaw. And the horizontal measurement is from ear to ear across the nose. So I have about 10 for the horizontal measurement and 5 for the vertical measurement. So guys, I have a 5 by 5 inch box or square right here. So I'm going to explain what this means. I'll just go ahead and label that the back and here the front. As for the horizontal measurement, I had 10. So 10 divided by 2 is what I have at the top and at the bottom. That's 5 inches. And the vertical measurement from nose bridge to underneath my jaw, I have about 5 inches. So guys, what I'm going to do is at this point, I'm going to mark 2 inches downwards from the top. And then from the bottom, I'm going to mark 1.5 inch upwards. Then I'm going to come to this side. From the side, I'll be marking 1.25 inches. You can go with 1 inch. And at the bottom here, I'll be marking 1 inch. You can go with 3/4 inch. The reason why I'm saying you can go lower is if you don't want it to be, very curved. So I'll just use my curved ruler now. Go ahead and curve it out and then fine tune the side with a curve. So we'll go to the back now. For the back, I'll be coming down by 1.5 inch. And then for the bottom, I'll just go up and mark 1/2 inch. You can also go with 3/4 inches. Then I'll just go ahead and, connect the points like so. So for this top curve, if you want it to be a little more curvy, just go down at the back area by 2 inches. So this is it, guys, for the pattern. At this side, I'm going to add 1/2 inch. And then I'll join the points. For these other areas, I added 1/2 inch, but I realized that I did not need that much allowance because you see that I trimmed it out to about 1/4 inch after sewing. So just go ahead and, add 1/4 inch for your own pattern. So this is it, guys. I'll just go ahead, curve points where necessary, and then after adding my seam allowance, I'll go ahead and cut my pattern out. As after cutting, I'm going to label these 2 pieces because we'll need 2 pieces for both the main fabric and the lining fabric. And I'm going to, cut this on fold and end up with 2 pieces for each of the fabric. That's for main fabric, for lining fabric. I'll go ahead and cut it out on my fabrics. And I'll be using the same fabric for both the main fabric and the lining fabric. But for the main fabric, what I did was I added fusible interfacing to it to make it a little thicker. You can go ahead and do without that. My lining fabric does not have fusible interfacing. In order to cut the filter pocket pattern, what I did was to come in by 1 inch. I'll mark it at both ends and then draw a straight line. So it's basically carrying the same measurement except from the side. So after joining, what I'll do is just fold it in. I don't want to cut it out. I fold it in by that 1 inch. I don't want to cut it out in case I want to use this pattern to make, another face mask. So I'll just go ahead and, cut it on my filter pocket fabric, which is a cotton fabric I'll be using. As you can see, it's a little shorter than, the main fabric and the lining fabric. So after cutting, this is what we have, guys. The next thing I'm going to do is place all my fabric pieces with right side stitching. I'll go ahead and sew by a 1/2 inch seam allowance, which is what I gave to this pattern. For the filter pocket, I use a zigzag stitch on the edge because it is fraying easily. And I've gone ahead to sew the lining and the main fabric. So like I said, I do not need that much seam allowance. So I'll just go ahead and, trim it down to about 1/4 inch because I don't really want it, thick at the center area. So I'll just go ahead and trim this off, and then of course I'll go ahead and press this so that it's nice and flat. So what I'm going to show you guys is how to assemble this, and I'll be starting with the outer fabric. And what I'm going to do is place the filter pocket fabric with right side stitching. Ensure that is the top the top of all the fabric pieces are the same, then I'll go with my lining and then place it with right side of my lining touching the wrong side of my filter pocket like so. I ensure that the center seams are aligned, so I'll just go ahead and pin this down. So this part that we're working with now is the part that is going to touch my nose. So ensure that everything for all the pieces are the same before you pin it down and then go ahead to sew. So I'll go ahead and sew this now from the center to the edges, and then once I'm done, I went ahead to press this, and this is how it looks, guys. What I'm going to do is open this back up, and I'll be trimming off the excess allowance I have right there to about 1/4 of an inch, because I don't want the area around my nose to be that part to be very thick, so I don't need that excess. I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So for what I'll be using for my nose wire and my filter, nobody should come at me at all, please. I'm begging you. I'm using what I have. So I have some of this surgical mask at home way before COVID-19 started. So what I'll do is repurpose this, you get, because this is what I have. If I were to order for the materials, that's nose wire or maybe or filters, it's going to take like a very long time for it to get here. So what I'll do right now is get the wire out from this nose mask. So I'm going to insert it in between the main fabric, that's the outer fabric, and the lining fabric. So there are other options for nose wires which I don't have. Some even suggested the use of paper clips, straighten it out and use it. So I just pin that down to secure it, and then for the bottom I'll just go ahead and make tiny notches so that it is easy for me to fold it in. I'll be folding the outer fabric in by 1/2 inch, and then I'll be folding the lining fabric and the filter pocket fabric by 1/2 inch as well. So I'll just match it together like so and pin this down, and then I'll go ahead and pin the rest of this side down, of course, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew. So for the top where the nose wire is, I need to take note of that while sewing. So I sewed basically by about 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the filter pocket to the other end on both sides, at both the top and bottom. And this is what it looks like, guys. So where I have my nose wire, I make sure to seal up the edges so the wire doesn't mistakenly stick out. And then I did the same thing for the bottom, except the sealing of the side. So for the pieces that you're going to need to hook, attach this face mask to your head or to your ear, you can go ahead and use a bias tape or elastic if you have that. If you don't have an elastic, you can use a bias tape. You can use cut out strips from fabric and use as your ties. But if you are going to go ahead with strips, you are going to need to cut like long strips, and you'll be inserting them in the 4 corners of your mask so that you can easily tie them. But for this tutorial, I'll be going ahead with elastic. So I've cut out my elastic strips, so I'll just go ahead and fold this part in. We're also going to seal up this part, so I'll fold this top part inwards by 1/2 inch, and then what I'm going to do is insert my elastic, so pin it down, and I ensure that it is straight while pinning down. Don't let it get twisted. So once I pin it down, I fold the other end, and then I'll just sew very close to the edge like so, in order to secure this. And where the elastic is, I'll do a back and forth stitch so that it is really secure. So I'll do the same thing for this other side as well. As you can see, I sort of did like a pleat at the side. The reason why I did that is to allow this to properly rest on my face, so that there is no space where air is coming in from the environment. So this is it, guys. This is what I have. And for this surgical mask, what I basically did was to cut the sides and divide it into 2. So for one surgical face mask that I have, I'll be using it twice. I hardly go out except when I want to go to get groceries. So what I'll do is just insert this in such a way that the white part is facing outwards and the blue part is facing me. I think that is the correct way to when they talk about wearing surgical mask or something. Hopefully I got that right. So this is what I had to use, guys. There are options. You can get your filter from Amazon. I think there's a link on Jumia where you can get a PM 2.5 filter, but it will take about a month for it to get here. So that is why I'm making use of what I have. And then for the nose pinch, guys, you can see what I did. where I inserted the nose wire, this is where the nose pinch comes in so that it will be secure on your nose. So that's what I have right there. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you guys. This is what I had to use. If you have any other options to, using for your nose wire and your filters, go ahead and do that. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe to our channel. Bye guys.